Hello. This is going to be short. Didn't record this week, but I wanted to kind of go over some stuff anyway, not in a podcast kind of way, um, but just as like ideas for the channel and what's going on. Not that anyone's going to watch this, but you know. So, uh, right now, the main thing is weirdly art assets. I'm spending a lot of time working on that as opposed to anything else. Like, there's something that bothers me about this podcast in that we record for on Sundays, information and news of the past week, um, but by the time I upload it, and so far it's been Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, that then makes the information a week old, potentially 2 weeks old, and I don't like that kind of thing. I would like to get it up as soon as possible. But that said, the process of making my video, which I'm gonna capture random footage, I don't want to record while on footage. Which, by the way, speaking of recording, I'm using my headset as opposed to one of the mics, so this could sound like garbage, and that's fine by me. I don't really care. Um, anyway, most of the thing is that I set up the video, or I'd set up the audio, which editing that is pretty simple. The tools are super easy to use in both Audacity, and I use Sony Vegas 12 Pro, and so that's fine. That doesn't take long to tweak and edit, and most of the things have been coming out completely clean, so that's fine anyway. Um, Considering how haphazard my setup is, I feel. Anyway, beyond that, uh, I listened to the audio, and the first time through, it's just making sure things aren't like broken and messed up beyond repair. Because I'm kind of watching the waveform while we record, but not really. Last episode we had that like weird 10 seconds where it was all fucked up. I'm not sure what that was about. Anyway, um, so the the next time I listened through it, and again we're recording like around 140, 1 hour 40 minutes. So this does take time, but not a terrible amount of time. I'm lucky in the fact that I have a pretty good sleep schedule. I used to not sleep for shit. Now I do. So there's plenty of time to work on this while also goofing off eternally because that's what I do. Um, so basically, the second time I listened through it, I'm grabbing images pertaining to what we're talking about. Sometimes I cut, well, not sometimes, always I cut sections of the audio because there's occasions where we get into like real like non sequiturs, like you know things that after we record the podcast we play D&D 5th edition actually, and Robbie is our dungeon master. So there's times that's come up, and while we do talk about D&D news, our specific game is not too important. Um, and also sometimes we get into issues about like the recording itself, like recording time. Okay, what do you want to do next? And like just chopping out those little bits that don't really add anything. If Even if it doesn't add anything and it's funny, I usually keep it in. But there's sometimes you're just not doing anything. I cut those out. That takes no time. Um, and I'm also grabbing images for this timeline. And then about the third time I listen to it, I'm dropping the images in, um, and just making sure everything sounds kind of good. I don't really have a final run through because I mean at this point I've listened to it 3 times. If I miss something, then it's got to be very unnoticeable or can be easily blamed on my stupidity, and then I'm done. um, so So that's the process, but then it's still taking me like a week, even though I've just described what, maybe at max 6 hours of work. Um, and it's primarily because of messing with like the intro. Like so the first one was delayed because I was making all those terrible character sprites, I guess. It's not really a sprite, character avatars for each of us. And finding a placeholder track because Brandon wasn't ready with the track that we had in the second and third episodes. And then, I mean, as you saw in the third episode, I was trying to learn animation just to make it a little bit funner because, yeah, I like the character bios, but those sitting there for like 10 seconds with like nothing happening and no transitions, it looked awful to me. So I want to, I also have to figure out what to do with his track because his track's very good. I think he's an extremely talented individual, and he's not recognized simply by dint of one, he doesn't upload anything. Two, even if he did, we live in the middle of the woods. Because I mean, it's the weird thing about YouTube. Like even in our podcast, I think it's low quality. We're not putting out gold here. But I've seen way worse get a lot more attention, and um, I don't know. That's just the way things are. And the way none of us know advertising, none of us really know things of that nature. So, um, but I'm delegated to. Okay, he gave me this awesome track, and it's like 2.5. He actually gave me a couple of tracks. It's just that was the shortest one, so I used that one. But now I gotta pick where to fade in, fade out with the intro. Um, as you saw with the little menu thing, his options came down uh, and was kind of like the timestamps of what we're going over and when, which I think timestamps are extremely important. I've been told by other people I talk to online to take those out um, because of viewer engagement and all that type of things, which I mean I guess is true, but personally I know when I'm using a video and you just have to wade through the whole thing to potentially not even be interested in anything that was talked about, like that's a nightmare. It's such a waste of time. Then again, I don't listen to podcasts like most people. I very rarely have something going on in the background. I usually in there. Um, so I'm not going to compromise on that. And so, I mean, if the first 1 minute you're not going to listen to the podcast, I just saved you an hour and a half. And to me, that's a better trade-off than my retention on videos that are only going to get 4 views anyway. It's like I don't really give a shit. Um, so I'm gonna keep that. And then there's cast and camels. So I want to put the bios in camels. Like it goes back up, it selects that, which I already made the animation for that. Um, but to actually express that information and the people that are on kind of the podcast and to make kind of a character select screen because I'm sticking with the video game theme. That's all very hard, especially because my version of Photoshop, most of the avatars I make in MS Paint because it's just easy to drag and drop shit. But I'm transitioning to Photoshop Elements 11 because I've had it forever, and why not? It has way better tools, but I'm pretty sure mine doesn't have tweening animation, besides the fact that the tweening animation that I've seen and the ones that do have it is also kind of hysterically bad. So there's that. Um, but yeah, to have that would be very nice. I have to figure out how to animate text. I'm sure that's probably just like an effect I could slap on in Vegas and do no time. But even to kind of search through the different effects and stuff. Like these applications have a lot of depth. You could spend hours just looking through them and not find anything that you'll ever use because there's just so many. Because it's made for so many different purposes. So, um, well, whatever. I got a free week. I'll throw this up. Probably just some simple images and that won't take long. And then I have the entire week. Yeah, I'll find those things. I'll finish the animation, um, and then hopefully, the next time we record, I can just slap it into the intro. The only page of that intro that I actually need to update would be the timestamp one, and that's easy. That's typing out a notepad document and then pasting it. Um, and then, yeah, so then it cuts it all down to those 6 hours of just listening to the audio, cleaning it up, um, putting in the images and gags, and that's it. So hopefully we'll be coming up with recording Monday and uploading Sunday. That's the exact opposite of the words I wanted to say. Recording Sunday and uploading Monday. Um, and another thing I want to do is I want to try to get like, I don't know, a bunch of random footage. Like I mean, I play games. All of us play games. Now everyone who has like an Nvidia card that has that shadow play, you could record stuff. Even before that, I did some streaming, so I have OBS installed on my computer and things of that nature. Um, just record a bunch of bullshit, me playing Tarkov with Brandon, and I'll try to encourage them to also record stuff like that and just send the files to me. So if ever there's a situation like this, where whoops, no video, I could still give you guys something kind of like B-roll footage or miss the podcast footage so that the channel's not potentially dead for a month for no reason and then, oh, it's back. Um, so yeah, those are the ideas. That's what we're working on. The only other thing really to mention is, well, I talked about all the time for the intro and animation and stuff. I'm gonna have to redo it all anyway because I've commissioned better art. No word on when that's coming in though, so maybe I shouldn't even fucking mention it. But whatever, you know. Um, and yeah, we'll see you when we see you. Thank you for listening. Take it easy.